Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Gashi's Kaman TV, the tallest man in Black Africa. We have seen goons now starting to invade, starting to attack the opposition. We saw it when Natebea was in the Western region. And this is something that has been repeated, and the government starts to blame. Because we have to ask ourselves, who is benefiting out of this kind of activities by the thugs? Now, in this video, I want us to look at the reason why the goons are being used by the politicians. And here, IBC must act and act ruthlessly. If at all it is going to be fair to everybody, it must punish the perpetrators. Because George Natebea actually escaped death very, very narrowly. Ladies and gentlemen, death has an escape. What could be making politicians use goons? And why target people like Natebea? Number one, in my view, the government is very, very keen to stop or prevent the momentum, the political momentum that has actually taken place, or that is taking place in this country, is that the government is likely to be a one-term. The government of William Samoei Ruto will be sent packing. There is a wave cutting across the region, and I think the Western must have scared them a lot. I also noted that the government has actually sent the whole machinery in Bere. From PSs, CSs, the minister, everybody has been sent in Bere. And these are actually a civil servant or public servants. Number two, why these goons are being used is to control the public narrative. The narrative is that Gachagua team is winning. The narrative is Matiang'i is becoming very, very popular. The narrative is Kalonzo is also very, very popular. The narrative is that the youth are going to vote in large numbers. And by the way, according to the last general elections, the votes, the average voters turnout was 65%. Now, by sending goons, the government hoped to suppress the voters' turnout, such that during the by-elections, many people will remain at home, many people will not go out and vote. This is called suppression, to ensure that, people will fear that, after all, during the voting, these goons must come out and they are going to attack people. So what I would urge the voters is to come out. And remember, I told the opposition in one of my videos that they need to protect the votes. They need to ensure that there is no violence. Even when the government try to unleash this kind of goons, the opposition should ensure that the goons do not actually succeed. Because violence, you always work against the opposition. So because the idea here is to suppress the numbers so that people will come out. The other reason, in my view, losing a by-election for William Samoei Ruto. I told you, these by-elections, especially in Bere, North, and Malava, is a matter of life and death to William Samoei Ruto. They are so dear to him. He must win according to him. What happens if he does not win? He'll be badly embarrassed. Remember, Kidiki has camped in Bere. Like there's no other work. And here, that's why I say Kibaki was in a class of his own. Kibaki did not fear losing a by-election. To him, this was very kawaida. Even when he lost the constitutional referendum, the so-called Wako draft, the government continued. What he did was just to shuffle the cabinet. And I think there was a time they were left with the Moody Award. Just Kibaki, and so losing to Kibaki was kawaida. And even in 2007, somebody was telling me that even during that time, Kibaki was ready to give in. But the guys who were surrounding him, and others I cannot mention here because of the sensitivity of the issue, told him, no, you can't give the government to Raila Amolo Odinga. You can't hand over power to Raila Amolo Odinga. That's why Kibaki akiulizwa alisema mimi niambiwa tu nimeshinda. So Kibaki and Ruto are people who are actually wowed apart. They are as different as day and night. So William Samoei Ruto would not like to be embarrassed losing to Rigathi Gachagua. And that is why he went to Matiang'i, to counter Matiang'i in the Kisii region. Something else that is worrying the government and why this they are trying to stop this, because actually they are sending a warning to the government that we are to the opposition that we keep on actually interfering with your rallies, is because the opposition now is coming out very organized and very much deliberate. If you remember, Gachagua was in Ebu, Kalonzo was in Luenyanza, Matiang'i was in Kisiland, and when you look at Natebea and DAP leader, that is Wamalwa, they were in Western. So this kind of working relationship is actually scaring the government. Unaona serikali sasa, unaona Matiang'i wakiwa na Ruto kule, and Matiang'i was given a thunderous welcome. Now, again, when you look at Kidiki was sent to counter Gachagua, and this is very, very interesting. Again, I think the government is trying to mark territories. This is known as territorial marking, just like a lion would mark its territory. Mpaka hapa ni kwangu. Because you see, the government is losing very, very fast, more than actually one could actually imagine. And you see, the government was hoping that it was going to inherit Raila Amolo Odinga's support base. Like now sasa Western ikienda, serikali itabaki na nini? Western ikishikana na mlima, nini itabaki? Tena uongeze pale the eastern part, the Kabas, the whatever, the Merus. Sasa itabaki na serikali itabaki na nini? And again, there is also this narrative that is coming in ODM that a good number of people in ODM want to support Cyril Kalonzo Musyoka. This is scaring to the government, because you see, the rules are saying that Kalonzo, after all, stood with Raila Amolo Odinga. And a friend of mine was asking me, who is a law, by the way, was asking me, between Ruto and Kalonzo, whom would you trust? I told him, Kalonzo. Reason, he's honest, what, and he's straightforward and very intelligent. Then he told me, the same case applies to us. You can be able to see who stood with Raila Amolo Odinga 3 times. Now, so this is something that is scaring the government. And to counter this, they are now trying to disrupt the rallies. The other thing, in my view, this is just intimidating raiders, intimidation. You know, baadhi ya viongozi wengine ni waoga kama fisi, and the government understand this. There are some of these guys can wakitishwa tu wanatoroka, wanafiata mkia, and it will take ages to see people like Raila Amolo Odinga. It will take ages to see people like Paul Kifugi Mwite, Matiba, Rubia, and all those who fought for the second liberation. It will take ages, because you see, the government understand that if these guys are intimidated, some of them will not go to the meeting. And again, the turnout is worrying the government. The way the opposition is being received with cheers and people are very, very happy, it is something that is scaring the government. And you see, because what the opposition is doing, opposition is not telling people to come so that they get money. You know, the government is spending a lot of money. Gachagua told us that in Bere, the government is spending more than 30 million in a day. You can imagine. We have seen people queuing to get 500 shillings, which is very, very worrying, which is very, very funny. So, najua sasa, miti yote imetereza. Ni kifo Kenyani kimefika. Je, watafaulu? Because I think the use of goons is something that is very, very primitive, very outdated. Ni jambo ambalo limepitwa na wakati. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Gashis Kaiman. Like the video, comment, share, and let me know where you're watching the video from. Bye-bye.